Minister of Finance Tekwe tells Parliament Ghana's economy is on the right footing. Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana commences its second meeting for this year. Well, on the foreign front, International Criminal Court has set a new date for the opening of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta's trial. You're welcome to News Today with me, Kemini Nyamani Amana. Those are our headlines. I'll bring you those details and more over the next hour. Don't go away. Hello, this is News Today. In our first story, Minister of Finance Tekwe has told Parliament Ghana's economy is on the right footing, saying the economy is adjusting to government fiscal and economic measures. Tekwe addressed the House some few minutes ago. Here's a recap.
Rationalization measures help to contain most expenditures within the 2013 total appropriation. Mr. Speaker, whilst these measures helped us to substantially address the challenges, the year ended with a provisional fiscal deficit of 10.8% of GDP against a target of 9%. This was due mainly to the following factors: shortfall in tax revenue resulting from lower domestic output and import levels, as well as a decline in commodity prices on the world markets. Continuous shortfall in grants from development partners relative to the budget target. Overrun in the compensation or personal emoluments comprising wages, gratuities, and allowances, including arrears. Overrun in subsidies due mainly to the payment of arrears again. And overrun in interest costs due mainly to financing of the deficit and past issues of bonds to complete capital projects that were placed on the budget. Mr. Speaker, we also experienced an energy shortfall due to the breakdown of the West Africa gas pipeline, which was a result of the action of pirates. The power disruptions affected industry and industrial outputs declined. This therefore affected GDP growth in 2013. We have also highlighted the fall in gold and cocoa prices as major causes of the decline in output. Based on growth data for the first 3 quarters of 2013, as well as developments in the fourth quarter of the year, growth for the year is expected to decelerate. The actions we took to reduce the fiscal deficit had consequences on inflation. Inflation surged or increased in 2013 mainly on account of the adjustment of prices on petroleum and utilities, as well as pass-through effects of exchange rate depreciation. The latter reflected a general weakness of external sector developments in 2013. After beginning the year at 10.1%, inflation ended in 2013 at 13.5% against the targeted band of 9% plus or minus 2%. A framework within the whole forum on public sector pay sustainability to reduce the wage bill as a share of tax revenue from around 57% in 2013 to 35% by 2017. This will put us in compliance with the ECOWAS criteria on which to revenue ratios, and this was a subject of discussions by the heads of state in Yamoussoukro last week.
Let's get more on this. We'll talk to Chartered Economist and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, John Gachi. Hello, John.
Hello.
Your views on this?
I can't hear you.
I'm asking your views on the minister's submission in Parliament.
Whatever you played, I couldn't hear what
Right. Let me just give you a briefing. Basically, the ministers address the fact that the country is on the right footing. We are adjusting to a lot of the measures they put in place at the beginning of the year, as far as arresting the alien economy is concerned.
Well, I think that statement is right under the circumstance. It is important that the business environment gets to know what the finance minister's assessment about the economy is, and that will direct how investment or people who invest in the country will try to adjust their plans for the country. So it is right, he is telling us what is the real situation about the strength of the Ghanaian economy. More especially, he is making this statement not at any public lecture, but to the Parliament of Ghana. So one will believe that that is the true state of the economy, and that the measures put in place are realigning gradually.
But a lot of Ghanaians, on the other hand, will be expecting this to change. John, if you could lower the volume on your TV set, I'd be grateful. I'm getting terrible feedback.
Is that okay?
Right, it's fine. Now, what I'm asking is, for the ordinary Ghanaian, the everyday person, if indeed the economy is adjusting to the measures put in place, we want to see a direct change in his or her life, or his or her micro, lack of a better word, micro economy. At what point are we going to see those things?
Well, I think that is the frustration and difficulty that managers of an economy go through, because the expectation from the average person is that anytime you put a measure, they should respond quickly to the challenges. But that is not how economic measures actually work. Some of these measures we will not see the real effect until the end of the year. So we need to be very truthful to ourselves. It's a serious economic challenge we are going through. Therefore, the measures put in place may not be able to respond so quickly to the expectation of people. It will take some time before we are able to realize them in full. So that should be the expectation of the country.
I see. John, let's wrap up with this and then get into the monetary policies meeting. The second for this year commences today. What are your expectations?
Well, my expectation is that most of the important development in the country, especially from the beginning of the year, have been factored into the previous announcement. And therefore, the new dynamics that are emerging in the economy, we have to find some time to study them before we can integrate them into any new announcements. And based on that, my expectation is that the best thing for the moment is to maintain the policy rate that will actually create an atmosphere of some kind of stability and hope. I do not expect a downward trend in policy rate, and I also think it will not be in the right direction to increase the policy rate.
Thank you very much, John. John Gachi is an economist, also a University of Cape Coast Business School lecturer. Let's move on to something else. And the Christian Council of Ghana has urged President Mahama not to sign the economic partnership agreement with the European Union as it is not in the best interest of Ghana. According to the Council, the EPA in its current form is not in Ghana's best interest and will worsen the country's economic challenges if signed. The Council says the agreement in its current form, like I said, will worsen Ghana's unemployment situation. Take a listen.
We are into trade partnership with European Union. Right. The Christian Council of Ghana doesn't have any problem with it. But the EPA and some details in the asset now is what we are saying is not in our best interest. Now, our problem is not so much even in terms of percentages. You know, EU may have 100% access to African markets. We may have 80%. There are certain products that African countries we cannot send to Europe, rice, sugar. But even that is not the major issue. The real issue is, you see, the EU allows some countries to grant subsidies, for instance, agricultural products, to their member countries, you know. And just imagine that somebody is producing, say, tomato in Italy with subsidy, you know, so the cost may be a bit lower and the quality, they may be able to do so many things. Now, a young person in somewhere in Akomadan also producing tomato, already IMF and World Bank, they've given us instructions to withdraw subsidy from so many things in this country, you know. And so this young man, with all the effort, we want to produce tomato. Now, somebody brings tomato from Italy to Makola, and a tomato from Akomadan to Makola. Obviously, the Italy tomato, in terms of quality, may be higher and maybe cheaper. You know, so at the end of the day, this young man, maybe university graduate who want to go into farming, may have to, at a point, decide that I better stop this and maybe find something doing. So we are saying that the EPA, there are so many things that the European Union are free to do. Africa, now we don't need aid. Our people want to work. And please, let's get it. European Union is not doing this as a dash. They need African market. They need us now to handle their unemployment. Why they solve their problem, they should not create problem for us. So I think the Nigerians did something better here. They were able to engage society. They did the analysis, even to the point that they could conclude that by signing EPA, it will cost them X amount of money. They were talking about $1 trillion. I'm not sure as a country, even though it's speculated that we may lose $300 million a month. But what is this implication? How many people are aware? What are we going to do differently? You know, and fine, even if you have 1 hour, you know, even if you have 1 hour, the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, everybody must come on board. Whatever information they must give, they must make available. As a country, we must prepare ourselves that by appending our president, appending his signature, this is what we are in for the next 20 years. And remember, EPA will be around our neck for the next 2 decades.
Now, Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party, Martin J. Costa, says they are confident the Electoral Commission will conduct a credible election on April 12 when the party goes to the polls to elect executives to lead over the next 4 years. This, he says, is despite concerns they raised with the EC's handling of the 2012 election, which ended up in court.
All eyes will be on Tamale come April 12 as 5,192 delegates from across the country choose 8 executive members out of 44 contestants to steer the affairs of the party. Once current executives have taken stock of their tenure, the Electoral Commission will take charge of the voting process, and the party trusts the EC to conduct it properly.
When you have about 5,200 people going to vote, it's not compared in any measure to over 14 million on the national scale. In this election, every aspirant, detailed enough, okay, can know the in and out of it. There is nothing cumbersome, there is nothing confusion.
So there wouldn't be double
there is no.
Like
there can be. Every voting category is clearly spelled out. The register for those have been given. If it's the MP category, 123 of them. If it's the TESCONs, 123. If it's the foundation members, 76. Council of Elders, 15. Council of Patrons, 15. Regional Executive Committee, 160. Constituency Executive Committee, 4,400. Which of them are you going to steal?
He says the party has allocated enough funds for the annual delegates conference, as essentials such as accommodation, feeding and transportation have all been arranged.
Enough that is required to run this process. It's been assembled. 100%. And it's been...
Like the 1 million?
Oh, maybe the finance people will tell you what it cost, but enough for doing this program has been sought.
According to him, 1,200 police officers will be on grounds to ensure safety. The Director of Elections also expressed hope that both the winning and losing sides will join forces after the elections and pursue the common goal of the party.
Away from the capital city, the second lady, Matilda Emisa Arthur, has advised Queen mothers to serve as role models in society and champion the cause of women to better their lives. The second lady made the remarks at the inauguration of the Western Region Queens Association at Secondly. A report by our correspondent, William Benjamin Peters.
The colorful ceremony saw a rich display of both tradition and culture as the various Queen mothers from across the Western region graced the occasion in their rich traditional regalia. The association aims to offer a common platform for the Queen mothers to deliberate on their contributions to the society for its development. The president of the Western Regional Queens Association, Nanabna Kunajua II, in her welcome address bemoaned the relegation of Queen mothers in the various House of Chiefs and encouraged the Queen mothers to ensure that unity prevails in their various communities.
The current structure of the House of Chiefs will not gender balance. It therefore, for this reason, among others, empowering our queens, strengthen and foster unity among us, to enlighten and develop the region, that the formation and deliberation of this association has become very necessary. It's my vision as the president of this association to undertake programs that will ensure proper upbringing of our younger generation, to live exemplary life by acting as role models.
The Deputy Western Regional Minister, Alfred Ekojan, commended the Queen Mothers for their vision in forming the association, which he believes marks a milestone towards development, and urged them to ensure their voices are heard, especially in issues regarding girl-child education, and also to promote peace and dialogue within the chieftaincy institution.
Ghana, as Secondly today, has brought honor to the region as being one of the few regions to inaugurate its association in Ghana. It is my belief that the inauguration of this association will not only strengthen the bond of relationship amongst our Queen mothers, but will also give impetus to the chieftaincy institution as a development institution.
The second lady, Matilda Emisa Arthur, said it's high time women are placed in their rightful place in society, a cause she said could be best championed by the Queen mothers. William Benjamin Peters reports from the Western region.
There's more ahead, don't go away. I'm glad you stayed on News Today. Now, Minister of State in charge of private sector development, Rashid Pelpo, has identified the private sector as a crucial partner in taking Ghana to the next level.
Rashid Pelpo was addressing investors at a groundbreaking 5-day private investors forum in London to showcase the many investment opportunities available in Ghana's private sector. The forum, organized by Direct Access Ghana, a private establishment in the United Kingdom, brought together lead investors who have keen interest in Ghana's private sector development. The chairman of Direct Access Ghana and CEO of Abiam Group of Companies, Abiam Ampomadanso, has been mandated to represent Ghana's concern to drive potential international investors to boost the private sector.
Access Africa or Access Ghana, we have decided that we will be a mediator and to make sure that nobody goes to Ghana or Africa to go through that hassle having 419 here and there. This one will say, I know this minister, I know this president, and then at the end of the day, you end up, being in the wrong place or wrong hands, and then your investment will be in jeopardy. So we decided that we will set up this and then also go into the ministers and making sure that they themselves will have a contact with every investor or every businessman or every businesswoman. And so Access Ghana is all about getting contact with the ministers and the presidents, and also
Rashid Pelpo on his part noted that Ghana enjoys rule of law, fair play, democratic peace, and are a friendly people.
Our effort is to push it to the higher level middle income economy. But that means that we would need to partner the private sector. More and more, it is a challenge for the budgets or for the economy to sponsor all the public projects that we want to embark on. And so there's a need for us to stretch our hands, help develop the private sector, and give the private sector the space it will require to invest in Ghana, to benefit from its investments, and we benefit from the efficiency, the drive, and quality of service of the private sector.
The program was hosted by Simmons & Simmons LLP, Nabarro, the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Law Society of England and Wales.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana will today commence its second meeting for this year. The free fall of the cedi forced the Bank of Ghana to hold its first Monetary Policy Committee meeting earlier than the scheduled date last month. This week's meeting, which will be the 60th meeting, will review the developments in the economy. It is also expected that a committee will discuss and analyze whether new and revised measures it introduced in February to stop the cedi from further fall has yielded the expected results. The Monetary Policy Committee is also expecting the bank may review the rules based on its findings. In virtual business, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg earned $3.3 billion on the sale of share options in 2013. A new regulatory filing has revealed Zuckerberg has now exhausted his supply of stock options as a result of Facebook's public offering. He was given 60 million shares to help him with his tax bill. His base salary for 2013 fell to $1 like other tech leaders such as Google's Larry Page and former Apple boss Steve Jobs. However, his total compensation for the year was $653,165, down from $1.99 million in 2012. Zuckerberg still owns 426.3 million Facebook shares, which are worth about $25.7 billion. Off to Asia, and Japan has raised its consumption tax for the first time in 17 years in an attempt to rein in public debt. From Tuesday, sales tax will increase from 5% to 8%, and it will rise again to 10% in October 2015. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said he would continue to take necessary action to address livelihood issues and keep Japan's economy on track. The stepped tax increases are aimed at covering rising social welfare costs linked to Japan's aging population. Official data from the Chinese government shows that manufacturing expanded slightly in March. A final reading of the official purchasing managers index was 50.3 in March, up from an 8-month low of 50.2 in February. Any reading above 50 indicates expansion. A separate survey by HSBC and Market, however, saw a contraction in Chinese manufacturing activity with a reading of 48.0 0, the lowest since July. The figures underscore a growing concern among investors and analysts, as well as government officials, that the Chinese economy is slowing. Last week, Chinese Premier acknowledged that there were difficulties and risks as rising debt and ongoing pollution problems cloud China's economic outlook. Let's do some sports now with Baba Tando. Don't go away.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Baba Tando. Time now to bring you the latest in the world of sports. Courtesy Cowbell. Let's begin from the senior national team, the Black Stars, where ex-captain Stephen Appiah has waded into the debate concerning Nigeria's coach Stephen Keshi's decision to allow wives of players to travel with the Super Eagles to Brazil for the World Cup. Now, Appiah, who captained Ghana in Germany in 2006 and in South Africa 2010, believes too much focus is being placed on the comments by the Nigerian trainer, and he does not have a problem with that.
No, because you know, at times people see it in a different way, in a negative way. If you said, Stephen Appiah, don't bring your wife to camp, do you think that you're going to stop me from bringing my wife to Brazil? No, I will still bring my wife. I will put her in the different hotel, and maybe there, maybe I will sneak and go and see my wife. The question is, I don't know why people are making big issue about this thing. It's Stephen Keshi who said that he's going to allow the wives, but he's not going to allow the fiancés. So I granted an interview and I said no, it's going to bring problem in the team, because if you know, I mean, not everybody who is married. Yeah. So people see their fiancés like their wives. So if you allow wives, then the fiancés too should come, because I don't see the reason why. I mean, it will bring a lot of problem. That's what I said, but I don't think that is a bad thing. I've seen a lot of countries or teams going to a tournament, and then, I mean, there is a time that the coach forces the players to bring the wives. So I think that it helps to.
Away from that, now the quarterfinals of the MTN FA Cup could witness up to 3 All-Premier League clashes, with league leaders Kumasi Asante Kotoko drawn against regional rivals Ashanti Gold on the weekend of April 18 to 20.
Asante Kotoko have been drawn against regional rivals Ashanti Gold in the quarterfinals of the MTN FA Cup competition. The Premier League champions, who are chasing a double this term, were pitted against the Miners in the draw held at the Ghana FA headquarters in Accra on Monday. Kotoko will play host to the original rivals at the Babayara Sports Stadium in a fixture slated to take place from April 16th to 20. The quarterfinal draw also sees Inter Allies take on Hazakis in an All-Premier League clash. Holders Midyama SC will be facing Fete Feyenoord once they are able to beat Okwel United in the outstanding round of 16 clash, while Ken Faisal will take on either Adriana Stars or Dawenya United. Meanwhile, Midyama SC would know their CAF Confederation Cup opponents on Tuesday and could see them being drawn against record holders Al Ahly. The losing teams from the CAF Champions League will be drawn against their CAF Confederation opponents in the final qualifying hurdle.
Right, let's turn our attention to the UEFA Champions League now, and Barcelona face arguably one of their toughest tests of the season so far when they host La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid at the Camp Nou in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-final clash. Now, having reached the semi-final stage in each of the last 6 editions of the competition, the Blaugrana are again expected to advance to their final 4, but know that Diego Simeone's side are more than capable of ending that record-breaking streak. Okay, now in a related development, Barcelona goalkeeper Victor Valdés is expected to be sidelined for 7 months after injury on his right knee after tests on Monday. Now, the 32-year-old underwent surgery in Germany after tearing the anterior cruciate ligament during a 3-0 win over Celta Vigo on March 26. Manchester United player coach Ryan Giggs has said they do not see themselves as underdogs for today's Champions League home match with holders Bayern Munich. Now, ahead of the quarter-final first leg, the 40-year-old insists United believe they can win the competition. All right, away from that, and don't be caught in the prank, but Manchester United has signed athlete Usain Bolt on a 4-month loan deal as a free agent. Now, the athlete has never hidden his desire to play one day for the English club. Okay, so which position do you think Usain Bolt will be playing for United? We'll see about that. But Innocent Emegara scored a dramatic late equalizer as relegation threatened Livorno came from 2 goals down to claim a 2-2 draw with Inter. Inter appeared to be in complete command after taking a commanding 2-0 lead at the Stadio Armando Picci on Monday. But Livorno stormed back with Emegara, the hero, as he found the net 5 minutes from time. Now, the South African city of Durban has formally expressed its intent to bid for the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Now, the Commonwealth Games Federation will now work together with South African Sports Confederation and Olympics Committee, SASCOC, as it looks to develop the formal bid by March 2015 deadline. Now, the Canadian city of Edmonton has also announced its bid for the 2022 Games. It's a wrap on sports news. The sports news is proudly brought to you by Carl Bell. The news returns after this break. My name is Baba Tando. Good afternoon.
Away from international news, in arts and entertainment, after reports came through that dancehall artist Shatta Wale has been attacked in Toronto, Canada, while there for a series of performances. Showbiz promised to catch up with the artist on his return to confirm the reports. Indeed, the artist has confirmed there was an attempt on him, but that he wants to put whatever happened to him behind.
All geared up for the first performance since he arrived from his Toronto tour. Shatta Wale obviously has become one of the few artists in Ghana currently who is constantly sought after for shows. As he touched down last Saturday, he had already been billed for 2 different shows that same day: the Night Train Parade Jam at La Beach and the Switch concert on Legon campus. Typical of him, he got his fans screaming for more at the end of his performance at both venues. We caught up with Bulldog, manager of Shatta Wale, and Shatta himself for confirmation of the reports. Whilst Bulldog remained tight-lipped about the incident,
eventually we resolved it. We don't believe in pushing or still going on with stuff. The only reason why you got to hear the news was we were outside. Even if it was here and it happened, we wouldn't have talked about it, but I've solved it quietly. But because we're out there and we never know what could happen, how dangerous it was, the magnitude of the issue, that's why we put it out there. So for us back home, we don't really want to talk about it, yes.
Shatta recounts to Joynews what exactly happened in Toronto.
So it happened in Toronto that we were in a hotel and, some boys came around, drinking with us, and all they said was that they were sent by Samini to come and do what. And they said the way they saw me, they couldn't do anything because they saw that I was real and, I was a down-to-earth person. And, I really felt bad, so I had to tell my manager, Bulldog, and Bulldog came in to ask them the same thing, and they said it. So I believe I've been saying this for years now, but it seems Ghana is not paying heed to what I'm saying. But all I'll say is I'll leave everything to God. Nobody came to attack me. Nobody came to beat me. It was just that the people saw the God in me. So they really poured out what they were supposed to, say to me. And
at police, both Bulldog and Shatawale admit this feud with Samini will end very soon.
Well, you know, I've ended it in my life. I've played a song. I've given all my life to God. I've forgiven all my enemies now. So I believe if someone doesn't love me, it's a song problem, you know, because I love everybody. I pray for every Ghanaian artist to move on and make money like the way I'm doing now in my time. So,
why won't it end? I mean, I'm not a soothsayer. I think these things will happen naturally. So, in due course, these things will patch up themselves. I mean, Reggie at the time had his own issues with all the ex-hosts and whatever. I mean, we've seen that in the industry for a while. I mean, so I'm sure time will tell.
Dancehall fans who have been worried about Shatta and Samini can possibly begin to look at the brighter days ahead, and Showbiz will be right here to keep you posted.
A new Michael Jackson album featuring 8 new tracks from the later teased archive will be released on 13th May, titled Escape. The tracks listing was chosen by Epic Records chairman Reed, who trawled through 4 decades of Jackson's demos and off-cuts. The tracks were then updated by the likes of Timbaland. Now, Reed calls the process of reworking the songs contemporizing. A deluxe edition of the album will also feature the 8 tracks in the original form alongside 3 mixed versions. Now that's something to look out for if you're an MJ fan, and I'm sure we are, fingers crossed, waiting for 13th May. Headlines again on News Today. Now, Minister of Finance Tekwe tells Parliament Ghana's economy is on the right footing, saying the economy is adjusting to government fiscal and economic measures. Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana commences the 2nd meeting for this year. ICC sets a new date for the opening of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta's trial, saying the October 7th start would give the Kenyan government more time to provide evidence in the case. That'll be all for the hour. Find more news on myjoyonline.com. I'm totally grateful for your company. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye.